Good morning, everybody. It's Trisha here with Sewing Parts Online. I am so excited to tell you that we are having some special guests today. Both Laurel and Melinda from the Grace Company are coming on to show us some fabulous things. And we're also going to do some giveaways. So I'm going to bring them up here so they can say hi. Let me get them pulled up. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
I know we're
How
super
are you doing
excited to
today?
be here. Really good. Yeah,
We are.
We're excited, ready for what this is. You know, you'd mentioned a couple giveaways, so that'll be really fun. I mean, who doesn't love getting something for free?
Giveaway is like our favorite word here at Grace
is.
Company.
We all love to win free stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I always joke about we give away too much free stuff.
No. We love it.
Yeah.
It's going to
It
be a
looks
good
like we
morning.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of different people joining us from all over. It looks like there's a couple from Tennessee in there.
From Texas.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Maine, it looks like as well. So it's kind of
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for
Maryland.
joining us.
Michigan.
Awesome.
This is really fun. See, this is, I think, what's so fun about this too is be able to see everybody come from all over. Because you're like, oh, I never know who's going to join. And like, seriously, like all over the United States. Sometimes even internationally, people come in and you're like, oh my gosh, you know, this is awesome.
It is. It is. And you know, the forum itself, it's always a positive form. Platform. I never see. Like in our platform or any other quilter platform, everybody's best cheerleader, so to speak. So I love the love everybody has for each other and other quilters, the encouragement. It makes all the difference, especially when you go to, another platform and it always seems like there's one person that ruins it for everybody. And it's like, really? But with quilting, I
so
can't say I've ever seen, anything negative. And it's so refreshing to see that.
Well, that sounds lovely, guys. If you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be showing us today, that would be awesome.
Oh, great. So, Trisha, we have a fun event planned for today. So we have a couple pre-recorded videos. We have our favorite segment, 2 segments of live giveaways. And then we'll go into some of our new products from Grace Company. And we'll talk about a couple of our newest machines. So again, lots of information going into this next hour and a half or so, and it's going to be super exciting. I do want to throw out there with one of our videos, it was recorded during the 2020 timeframe. So our video people do have masks over their faces, but you can still hear everything. Lots of great information, very informative. And I think that video ties in very well with one of our giveaways. So we'll get to that video shortly, but in the interim, again, we talked about where a lot of people were from. I see Illinois. Where else do we see? From Puerto Rico, Alabama. It's awesome. I love how everybody comes together for these events.
Yeah. Texas. Again, yeah, it really is. It's incredible. Again, because I always think that I'm like, oh, sure, I'm sure people are watching locally. And there are those local people, but it is really fun to be able to see everybody from all over. Melinda, you did talk on it, and I love that. But quilters are just so supportive of everybody.
They are.
They just if they're so happy for those that win the giveaways, like, oh, I wish I would win, but just congratulations, And everybody, it's just a very uplifting community. So we're really excited for what today is.
Yes.
That is a very true statement. Oh, this is so fun. Yeah, I'm trying to show some of these as we're going through. You're right. Everybody's from all over the place.
Yep.
I'm enjoying.
Again, Rhode Island. I saw Southwest Michigan, Brighton, Colorado, Florida. There's quilters in every corner of the world, and it's amazing. It is amazing.
It really is.
So, when I started with Grace Company, I kind of had just kind of the predecessor, even before starting. It's like, but it's quilting. Did you think that too before you started?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting. So, my last name's Rosnostik, so Nathan's my dad. So that's kind of how I guess I got introduced into this. And so everyone's like, oh, you must know about quilting. I'm like, quilting? What? Remind me, what is quilting? You know, like I was like, I really didn't know anything. Yep. And so it really was this interesting that I guess I thought it used to be this really small thing. And then now I'm like, oh my gosh, it's everywhere.
It's bigger than I ever imagined that it was.
Huge.
It would
really
be.
Is.
So,
It's
all
really
right. Well, Trisha, do you have any questions about kind of the rundown of what today's event will entail, or do you think we're ready to go ahead and get into our first video?
I can't think of any questions at the moment, but I'll definitely pop in if I do have any. I think we're ready to go.
All right, wonderful. So again, everybody, if you have questions during the live video, go ahead and put those in the chat. We'll do our best to circle back around and get those questions answered. So our first video is Fundamentals of Free Motion Quilting. Fantastic video, lots of great information, and we hope everybody enjoys it. So let's go ahead and get that started.
Sounds good. I will put that up here. I just want to really quickly mention that if there's anything that I can answer in the background, I'll be typing away too. So you're welcome to ask questions there. All right.
Great.
We're going to put the video on.
Welcome. Today I get to talk to you about something that I really enjoyed as a quilter, and that's free motion quilting. And I've done a lot of research and I've been able to learn free motion quilting really on my own. Yes, there's some great quilters out there and they have a lot of good advice, but a lot of new beginners don't know where to start or why it's important to do certain steps as you're free motion quilting. And they just bypass it because it becomes a little difficult and they think that they're not artistic enough to do their own thing with the free motion quilting and drawing out designs. And so I just want to help you become more confident so that you are taking tips and techniques that I'm teaching to be able to go and give you the confidence and do your free motion quilting. So, doing my research, I had to think back of where I started, and I started quite a while ago. And so I have gotten better with my free motion quilting, and a lot of it comes from experience, and the way that you're able to sew across your quilt. Now, think back of when you first started sewing or first started writing or first started walking. You take baby steps, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today is the baby steps leading up to it. Now, when you start quilting, a lot of quilters think they want to be this fabulous quilter right out of the bat, and you're not, okay? Because the machine's a little smooth and it's easy to make little wobbles in your designs. And even today, all the professional quilters are not perfect quilters. So allow yourself the learning curve. Just say, you know what? I've got to learn this and know that it can be learned. I mean, we all have to start somewhere in the quilting process. And so the first place I want you to start is practicing. And I want you to think about getting a doodle notebook. This notebook will help you come as a resource. It helps you practice drawing your designs, and that practicing as you're doodling is so important because it helps your memory retention as you come to the quilting frame. It allows you to remember which directions you need to move or how you want to draw the design. This doodling part of quilting is extremely important and something that if you're not doing, it's so much fun. So if you're sitting in front of the TV or you're just sitting there talking on the phone, put your phone on speaker and start doodling and just practice your designs while you're talking, because then you're doing two things at once, and that even helps you even more because it helps you remember the direction that you're supposed to draw, but you're doing another exercise talking at the same time, so you're trying to focus on two different items, so it helps you to multitask. So those are great tips and tools. So if you have any free time, just sit down and doodle. No matter where you are, even if you're in the car just riding along, listening to the radio. If you're the passenger, don't do it while you're driving, okay? But if you're the passenger, just doodle away. And a lot of our phones have pens that we can doodle as well. So start a doodle notebook. And start with easy designs. When we first started our penmanship and writing, we started out with easy, simple little things. And with a lined notebook, it helps you work on your proportions as well. So I have my little doodle notebook that has the lined papers in it. And as I started doodling, some of the first easy designs are just little waves and loops. And just start using the alphabet, the cursive alphabet, not regular letters, but the cursive alphabet is a great resource for designs in quilting. So this is a small case L and a little E. And I've just did 2 lines to show how I did the L, but I did the single distance between the 2 lines as the E. And I just, mastered that. So, and then another one is like a U. So it's a curve and an up, down, up, down, up, down. And like I said, the proportions on the lines really help you make it nice and even all the way across. So just to show you, and then as you're quilting, you can just do L's all the way across. Then you can add L and then an E, and then you can do the U's. You can make them a little smaller, but then you can start adding elements to it. So you can do a U with a circle underneath, and then you curve over the top, do a circle again, and then you move around and you do your circle again. Then you'll add a circle at the bottom of your U, and then at the top of the U coming across the top. So the valley and hills. Let's call them valley and hills. So you'll add a circle on the valley and then another circle on the hill. And so you'll just move across. And then as you're working on your designs, what you'll do now is that we're just making the distance a little longer using my lines. So instead of just 1, I'm using 4. So I'm doing my little circle on the hill, and this will help you work with your meandering and learn how to stipple. So if you'll practice, and then practice changing the direction of how you quilt, that also helps your memory, and also change the position of the design on your quilt. So this is just upside down E's. And then I started doing upside down L's as well. So you can see that this would make a fun little element in a border or a sashing, doing the different directions. Now this is a capital L. It's just a nice loop coming back. And again, these lines help me keep my proportion of my design so that I have it proportionally correct. Now, it doesn't help with the distance, so if you're concerned about the distance in between, you could just measure going across like this and add little lines so that you can keep the distance correct and the circles correct. So there's lots of ways that you can practice your doodling. Now, this is a fun design as well. So this is just kind of a zigzag. It's so simple, but you wouldn't realize it. This is my start point right here. And I moved up at a diagonal to this line here. Okay, on my sheet of paper. So I went diagonal, then I went towards, if I was in front of it, it would have been the left, okay? So it's the right on me. So move to the left as you're sitting in front of it. And then you'll come back down to the diagonal and you'll move to the left again and then you'll go back up, and you'll just keep doing that all the way across. So you have this little fun design. That's a fun one to practice. And so challenge you to practice something new and a little different. Then, as you're doodling, another fun thing in your doodle notebook to also help you learn how to fill in different shapes. So I'm just using simple squares for my shape, but you could use a hexagon or a triangle and try different things. So just draw them in your notebook and practice with little filler designs. So this isn't even complicated at all. It's just a design that I did in the valley and the hills. It's a little longer, but I just went across, making them vertical, and then I came across and made them horizontal. So it just changes direction. And on a quilt, it's very pleasing to the eye to have the different directions because it draws your eyes different areas. So practice on that. Then notice that now I started in the corner with my valley and hills, and I went this direction. So now I probably leave these two blanks. So try different ways of quilting. You don't have to fill in every area, and sometimes that can become a little messy. And sometimes you need that little space that has nothing in it whatsoever, and that makes it more pleasing as you're looking at it. So sometimes when a quilt has too much on it, it's hard to notice and recognize all that beautiful quilting, and sometimes less is more. So just decide how you like to quilt and what you like. Doesn't matter what anybody else likes. If you like it, that's great. Okay, now the stippling. A lot of quilters think, wow, let me start with the stipple. Stippling is actually a little harder than you would think. So practice in your notebook and practice in little squares so you can get the puzzle movements down. And stippling is just curves like a puzzle piece and going in different directions to kind of make it look a little meandering across your page. So start in one corner. Don't lift your pencil, keep going. And you'll notice that where you get hung up in a corner, just make it a little smaller and then come out. All the puzzle pieces are not exactly the same little size. They have small ones and large ones. So it doesn't matter if you get caught in a little corner. Notice that I kind of did a little erasing. That some of them are a little smaller because I was getting closer to my corner right here. So I kind of got caught there, so I had to just make this a little smaller. So practice that. And you can even practice it with points or spirals. Now, this is a fun little spiral design. It teaches you the basic beginnings of a spiral because spirals are not that easy to start with. So what you'll do is you'll come in and bring it to a point and then come back out. And I just kind of made it a little popcorn flower. And then you'll just come out and make it to a point. Just practice, and practice this all over your page. You know what? The more you do it, the better you'll become. So another simple design, I just wanted to show you about the spirals since we did the little popcorn, is this is a closed loop spiral. You can notice that as I come into it, I've got it really close to the same loop and I echoed around it. This is an open spiral because they're not touching. This is a closed and this is open because this one here, I closed it because each of the spirals are touching the next one. And this is open because they're not even touching each other. So it's going to cover more area more quickly as you're quilting. This is going to take a little bit more time because it's a little denser and closer together. So just look at the proportions and what you like and how you want to quilt. Okay, and a couple other little tools that I think are valuable for you. As I was working on processes and ideas, start again. I want to remind you, if you're not confident with free motion quilting, start simple. You can make a beautiful quilt with simple, easy designs. This quilt right here, I wanted to show you. It's open spirals, but it kind of gives you that movement. So as we were looking at it, it looks more like tree. And also we added names in this because it made it fun. It's like when kids were smaller, I put their names in things so that they would look for it, and it keeps them engaged and excited about what we're quilting. So I added Charlie's name here, okay? Now, right here, for the background, I did some stippling. And then for my flag, notice that I did the waves back and forth. And how much fun that is. Simple design. And then I did my stars. We all know how to draw stars. You just add stars and little loops to keep them going. And that's really it. Those are really, and then on the house here, we just kind of did some U's. But nothing complicated, but look how much fun the quilt is. And just from those simple, easy designs, boy, you can create beautiful quilts. And that's how we started out. Was just something simple. This is a really old quilt that I did a long time ago. Now, the quilt on the back wall is a little more complicated because I had more experience as I was quilting. Notice that in the sashing, I just did the loops. Simple, easy, but it's eye-catching. And in the center, I did the little X with some, it's a little feather X, if you want to call it. It's not really a wreath. But the back of the quilt is just as fun as the front of the quilt. So, and then I kind of took the feather design, with the little circle that I used in the sashing, and the square, and added it to the border to keep it going. And the border was so easy to do. It's just a little paisley, a couple of them, and then a spiral. Nothing complicated, but I took some time and practiced before I started quilting. And I also positioned things off. My border, I sectioned it off to get my proportions correct. And your doodle notebook, as you're doodling and coming up with new ideas and new designs, is a great resource for you to look back on for your quilting. So the next thing I want you to do is get a piece of clear template plastic, okay? And you have a rougher side and a smoother side and a dry erase. And then this allows you to draw your designs on it, to see what designs you like. So I'm going to position this along my block here that I want to fill in. What I'm going to do is kind of section it off here. All right, that looks pretty good. So now I could start here in the corner, go like this. That kind of looks fun, a little different. And then you could just keep going. And then just keep going this way. So that's kind of fun and a little different. So you could do something like that. And then we could come down here to this smaller square right here. And then see what the loops look like. And you know what? Sometimes those mistakes are happy mistakes. See, I'm talking, doing what I'm telling you, and not. So just take this template plastic. It's a fun way to see what your design will look like and if it's what you want on your quilt. Then once you've done that, I would suggest drawing it on a piece of paper and then unthreading your needle. And then I'll just draw my design. And you're not sewing the paper to it or anything. You're just seeing what it looks like. And you could pin your paper to it. But just make sure that you have the movements down. It kind of looks cool on the paper too. There you go. That's kind of fun. So try that and pin it down and practice your tracing on the paper. There's a couple of different ways that you can use this, but you know, try these techniques and use them and practice your free motion quilting before you jump in and actually start quilting. It will help you become more confident in your abilities, and it'll allow you to remember how your designs work and which way which position you need to move your sewing machine to get to the next design. Really important. So let's thread our machine, and I'm just going to come down here and do my little loops right now. And you can see that I've just drawn on my fabric the design. Now, there are some really good markers out there that are water soluble that you can draw on your quilt, but I haven't found the best one yet. Once I do, I will let you know. But for right now, just use the chalk because I do know that it comes out. And don't use too dark of a chalk, just very lightly. Use a pencil as well. The simple little designs are the best way to start. I'm going all the way to the top. And just start moving across. And have fun while you're doing it. You know, learning can be a fun process. Because you could be excited about what you're learning and that it's new and different. I don't want you to be the type of quilter that feels like you have to stitch in the ditch all the time because that's what you're good at. I want you to try new things and new elements and add new ways of quilting. Try new things. Be different. One other thing I wanted to show you, it's kind of pleasing to the eye if you're changing from a large to a small, to start with a large and end with a large. And it just makes it more pleasing to the eye because then you think, oh, they ran out of room or something like that. So just make sure that you start with a large and end with a large, or if you're starting with a small, end with a small. It works a little nicer and it's more pleasing to the eye. Just a couple more things as you're quilting. Just a few thoughts that I want to bring to your attention is as you're quilting, even free motion quilting, getting your quilt on nice and straight really does help it turn out more even and beautiful. If you put your quilt on uneven, it's going to look a little uneven and a little sloppy. So as you're putting your quilt, use your cloth leaders or make sure that your edges are nice and straight. It just makes a lot of difference as you're quilting. And it keeps it from moving up your quilt at an angle or down. So make sure that you have a straight line going across your quilt and that your edges of your top and your bottom are nice and straight. And if it's a piece top, make sure that you're positioning your top where you want that strip or wherever you want that block to be. So if you want to spray baste as you're positioning it, you can. I do not like to baste. It's something that I just don't want to do. So I'm very aware because my backings are always piece of where I want that center, if I want it centered or if I want it off to the side. Then the other thing is as you're quilting, just recognize that there are different size throats of machine. I'm using a 19-inch machine, so I have quite a distance I can travel, and I could make a larger design, one big, huge design. If you have a smaller throat, then the size of your design is going to have to be smaller and in proportion that you can quilt it without hitting the back of the machine. So as you're quilting along, if you have a smaller throat, then you're going to hit the back of your machine and it can mess up your design. So make sure that you know how far you can quilt without hitting the back of your machine. So I like to, with my chalk, just mark. So I'm not going to mark it down here past the foot. You're going to want to mark it up here before it hits. So I know that that's how far I can travel without hitting the back of my machine. And then if I hit the back of my machine, it's going to mess up my design and cause me to have a straight line because I'm hitting the back of it. So make sure that you do your markings as you're quilting along. And that you're tacking down the edges of your quilt. If you happen to sew off the edge of your quilt as you're coming back onto it, I'm just going to show you right down here. It can fold over the edge of it, but also it can get caught between the needle and the foot, and you can sew sew your quilt block down in your foot, and then you're just going to have to cut it out. Or be really careful as you're unpicking it right there. So notice that this is extremely important, and a lot of, one that I learned the hard way. So learn from me, okay? I do not like to unpick, but yet I made a big mess by not tacking down the edges of my quilt. And so ever since then, I've been very religious about tacking down the edges, even with free motion quilting. And even if you're quilting inside this area, it's a good rule of thumb to always tack down your quilt edges, because you never know if you're accidentally going to sew off the edge. So those are just a few rules and techniques. And I look forward to you joining me for part 2 of this, where I'm going to show you some accessories for free motion fundamentals that you can use to help ease you into that process. So join me next time. And please, look at the spring fling, look at all the beautiful quilts that are there. If you have quilts, enter them, and join me again for our next free motion fundamentals part 2.
Well, that was wonderful. I love that.
You know, I love watching Carla, whether it's in person or on videos. She just makes it look so easy. She has the perfect explanations, you know, who, what, why, where, when, how.
Uh-oh. Well, guys, I just did a little boo-boo. Can you hold on for just a quick second while I bump them back in? Thank you for your patience. Let me get them back on. I'm learning the back end. Usually Brian is the one that, oh. There we go again. Now I think you can hear me. Can everybody hear me? Let's put it back in the comments here. The audio just cut out. Can you guys hear me now? I accidentally kicked him off. I'm so sorry. Let me chit chat with him. Here they come. Let's get them on.
There we go.
Sorry, I don't know what happened to me.
Sorry. It was me. It was all me.
Oh, wow.
All right. I totally cut you off. We were at the
That's
point
okay.
of talking about how wonderful Carla was.
Yes, yes. So, yeah, I mean, just her explanations, her showing how to do it, why to do it, and you know, even her voice. It's so soothing as a new quilter. You know, just with those tips and tricks, and I don't know. I could watch her videos or watch her live for days.
Yeah, well, I think the big thing too is that I think Carla is very encouraging. So I know, like, as someone who hasn't done a lot of quilts or really has never quite finished a quilt, it's just very encouraging. And even now, a coworker of ours has decided that they want to kind of do a quilt. And so they went up to Carla and said, Carla was like, yes. She was so enthusiastic to help them, said, yes, you know, pick out the fabric, you know, I can get you some batting here, and then, you know, kind of come up with the designs. And so it just was really neat to see how excited she is and how supportive she is to just say, yes, just jump into it. You're going to make mistakes, but that's okay, right? You know, what was she saying? It was beautiful mistakes or happy mistakes, right? And so I think that that is absolutely true. And so I know that it is just fun to work with Carla on that, because she just loves it. She just genuinely loves it. So.
Yeah, I was really loving the little happy mistakes, because it's encouraging me, because I have a topper that's been sitting in my closet for a very long time because I don't want to ruin it. So I'm like, okay, Carla says I've got this. I can do this.
You can do it.
Yes. So that you bring up a great point, Trisha. So let's ask our audience. I love asking questions. Go ahead and put a 3 in the chat if you have one or more UFOs waiting to be quilted. And if you don't know what a UFO is, it's an unfinished project. So we know Trisha has one. I have like one and
I have a
probably
couple.
2.
Mm-hmm.
So
I have a couple
let's
for
see
sure.
how many 3s.
Oh, I'm sure a lot.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there they are. Let
Yep,
them
here
come
they
in.
come.
Yep. So tons of 3s. Looks like Brenda has 10 unfinished.
Marie has 8.
Marla has
Several.
8. You know, and it begs the question. So we were just recently at the International Quilt Festival in Houston. We were able to see Jeremy with Sewing Parts Online there as well. You know, tons of people. Fantastic event. I'll tell you, if you've never gone to
You
the
gotta go.
International Quilt Festival, put it on your bucket list and go. It's amazing. But all of these, you know, UFOs that we have hanging out there and seeing the quilts in the quilt show at festival. You know, I always wonder, you know, we have amazing quilts on display. How many of these quilters, you know, have UFOs yet to finish?
Oh, I'm sure all of them do, right? I'm pretty sure they're like, I gotta, you know, I wanted to submit this one because look, I finished it, you know? I mean, of course, they're showing off some of their wonderful work that they've done, you know, and the effort they've put into it. But oh yeah, or I bet you they've got one started. I know a couple people do. For them, they work on one project at a time to make sure that they can finish it. But even then, I know, or I guess when I first started, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do a quilt. And so I have like a Pinterest board, right? And I'm just saving a whole ton. So I have just like a ton of different ones saved. I'm like, I'm gonna do this one one day. I'm gonna do this one day, right? So even that, I just have a whole list. And I'm pretty sure every quilter out there does, because you're just like, well, this would be really fun, right? Ooh, maybe I could put this twist on it. So I'm sure all of them have that, so.
Yep. So,
Yeah, in
but
regards to Houston, though, oh my goodness, Jeremy came back with pictures of so many quilts. They were just like, the way that people do it, it just boggles my mind. I'm sitting here looking at different blocks. I'm like, okay, that makes sense to me, how you do that. But with all the crazy, like, portrait looking ones, it just blows my mind. I want to see them in person. I really hope that I can go next year.
Trisha, we would love to see you next
Yes.
year. Even, you know, it shows in the interim. We have some upcoming shows that Grace Company will be attending, and you know, there's quilt shows all across the United States, even worldwide. You know, Carla and Nathan, they've gone to some of our international shows. Laurel went to Australia last year for an international event. You know, so it's not just, you know, our local church groups or quilt guilds. You know, there's quilters all across the globe, and it's really at, you know, these different quilt shows, at least that I've gone to, you know, and seeing all the works. All the quilts people have submitted worldwide. It's amazing to see how creative and artistic people are. I know I, for one, I'm always going to be my worst critic in anything that I do. Quilting is no exception. I look at my work, you know, from when I started a year and a half ago with Grace Company to now. I'm still not 100% happy with my quilting, but I have come a long way. And just as Carla mentioned in the video, you just have to keep practicing.
You really do. Yes.
And just out of curiosity, when you're first starting, do you use a stitch regulator right off the bat, or is that something that you tend to get down the road a little bit, you know?
You know,
Down the road.
So on the Cutie, for instance, or even the hoop frame, when I started with a domestic machine, I could not get the coordination of pushing the foot pedal at the same time and moving the machine across the frame. My stitches were all over the place. I, for one, hands down, will opt to use some sort of stitch regulation for any of the projects that I've done.
Yeah.
I just for the life of me. Carla and other quilters, some of our ambassadors, make it look so easy to get, you know, just even, you know, precision stitching. I can't do it.
Yeah, and I think it really depends. Honestly, stitch regulation makes it a lot easier because it helps you be able to focus in a bit more on the design work you're doing. But I know for me, and actually one of the videos we do where we talk about the Cutie Frame and how to quilt on it, that was actually the first time I had ever really done anything, and that was done with a domestic machine with just a standard foot pedal. And so it's really neat to see because for me, it was like they randomly pulled me like, hey, can you be part of a video? I was like, sure, you know, so out of the blue, I had never done it. And so I sat down, they're like, all right, we're gonna film this video, you're gonna quilt. And I was like, what? What am I doing?
You're all, wait a minute, what did I sign up for?
Yeah. And so I sat there and I was like, okay. And so Carl's like, just push the pedal. I was like, push the pedal, right? And she's like, yeah, you know, and so I did it. And I mean, I caught on right away. It did take me a bit where I went maybe a little too fast at some spots and then slowed down. But I think, again, of course, it varies from person to person, but some people really do prefer to just do that. And that's why on some of like our machines and all that there is that feature, because depending on the work you're doing, that is a really nice thing. So it really does depend. But you know, stitch regulation does definitely make it easier.
It does, yes.
And just a quick back up, because I know a few people had said that they are, you know, very beginners on all of this. So stitch regulation, just to kind of give a clarify on that, it does exactly what it says, regulates your stitches, right? So if you move really fast, you're going to have longer stitch lengths. And if you move really slow, they're really, really close together. So as Carla was saying, it takes a lot of practice because you need to have that fluid movement and everything, you know, goes nicely. So sorry, I'm dinging over here. But I know when I had first heard of stitch regulation, I was like, what does that mean? And then I had to break it down. So for all you newbies out there with me, there's a little short explanation.
Yes, yes. And again, you know, every quilter is going to be a little bit different, you know, in their techniques and how they do things. A lot of quilters do things, you know, to this day because that's how their mom, their grandma, you know, somebody in their family had taught them. You know, so there's some things, you know, a quilter will always do. There's, you know, so much creativity, so much innovation with the quality of products that are being made, not just by Grace Company, but I think, you know, any manufacturer or vendor, you know, there's so much out there to help the community, you know, create beautiful masterpieces.
Yeah, and then I know there's been a couple of questions, and I unfortunately can't remember what all of them were, but I don't know, Tricia, if you can put up how people can contact you. That way, if we don't have an opportunity to get to them, they can still reach out to you, or if they see something, you know, you've been looking at a Cutie Frame, or, you know, hey, I'm looking at getting into it. What does the free motion look like? You know, because we do have a kit on that we'll talk about a bit later in the segment. But yeah, it's right there at the bottom, so that's perfect. So it looks like it's 888-824-1192. Or you can email at info@sewingpartsonline.com.
Yes.
You betcha.
Yes.
And let me actually double check and see if we do have some questions that we can look at. Scroll through here a bit. Got lots of cool comments. Everybody's enjoying it so far. Where are those question marks? Looking here.
Yeah, and then I know while you're looking, there is one. It looks like it's from a Kathy B. Most recent. It says, can you regulate stitches with a domestic machine? So that's a really good question.
Yes.
So if you want to go ahead.
We have two Sure Stitches. We have our original Sure Stitch, which is sold machine specific for that machine. Then we have our Sure Stitch Elite, which there's still going to be a compatibility list, but it's not sold specific for a machine. There's technology that's built into that stitch regulator and cords provided right out the gate for that Sure Stitch Elite to work with a wide array of machines. So with our Sure Stitches, again, it's eliminating the foot pedal. So eliminating how fast or how slow your needle is moving up and down. But it also regulates the stitches. That way each and every stitch is the same uniform size throughout. Again, those are two of the products that we have. The original Sure Stitch, the retail price is $599.95. The Sure Stitch Elite retail price is $899.95. So those two products can be purchased by calling Sewing Parts Online at their toll-free 800 number, or by purchasing directly on their website as well.
Yes, and then I know there was a great question, or I think it's the biggest question that people get with it, is if you are looking at using a domestic machine, does it work on all domestic machines? And with it, Melinda, you mentioned is it does work with a wide variety, but unfortunately, because there is just so many domestic machines
I used
out
to
there.
say hundreds, but I would lean more towards there's
a ton.
thousands
There's
of
so
different
many.
machines.
Yes, so we are always testing them, but unfortunately we haven't had the opportunity to test it with all of them. But that doesn't necessarily mean it doesn't work. But again, we are continuing to test them. But again, it's not compatible with all machines right now, just because there are so many for us to test it with.
Yes, yes. So I know, Thanksgiving is coming up right around the corner. It's one of my favorite holidays. There's the wonderful food, but it's the gathering of friends and family, and the memories that are being made. I remember as a younger girl receiving a beautiful quilt. It technically was supposed to be Christmas, but I received it early around Thanksgiving, and it's a quilt that I cherish, and thankful that I was able to receive that. So let's ask another question. Let's put a 5 in the comments. Do you have upcoming quilt projects that you're looking to or will be finishing for the holidays to give to friends, family, loved ones, charitable donations, all of the above? So let's put a 5, for people that are, in a sense, in that crunch time between now and Christmas to get those quilts finished.
I see Kay, Rhonda, Carol.
Oh, yes.
Got a lot of 5s over there.
Quite a few 5s, yes. So, and they keep coming through,
Yes, I
So-
know. Well, I get people even now. I had someone the other day who was looking at the Cutie Frame, and they're like, I have so many quilt tops I need to get done, and just sending them out it was a lot for them to send. They're like, I have so many I need to get done for the holiday season, and so they were looking at that, and that is a perfect way to get started on it, because it does allow you to potentially use a domestic machine, or kind of grow with you, or put a mid or long arm on there. But I know that she was just ecstatic. She's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I can't believe I haven't seen this before, because it was going to be able to help her finish those quilts around this time of the year.
Yes. So I do see a question that popped up. Can I get parts for the Cutie Frame? Yes. So with that, you can certainly reach out to Sewing Parts Online. They can help kind of categorize what parts you're needing, and then their team will reach out to us. We'll determine, kind of what the parts are. With the Cutie, we have a great availability of replacement parts. So again, reach out to Sewing Parts Online. They can help kind of get a list of what you need, and then send that over to us, and we'll work on pricing and getting those items shipped out. But it's a great question, for the Grace Company products, whether it's Grace, Unique, we do have those replacement parts available. So of course, work with Sewing Parts Online, as kind of your in between, they're your authorized dealer. They can help you with all of your needs with those replacement parts or new products as well, and we'll get those shipped out.
Sounds like a plan. And speaking of new products, we are super excited. We're talking about Thanksgiving, which leads right into Cyber Monday, and we're going to be doing our So Creative Live Cyber Monday, and Melinda's going to be joining us. And she's
I'm so
talking about
excited.
new products. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped to see more. Go ahead.
We love working on these events. With Sewing Parts Online, you guys have been fabulous to work with. And I know kind of with digital events or online events, when you first start, there's always that kind of intimidation, like, how do I do it? What do I do? All these things run through your mind, and even
You might
to this
pick
day.
people off the whole stream.
Yep.
I mean, it happens, right?
But that's part of the fun of the events, because yes, we have kind of a guide of how what the narrative of the event will be, but things will certainly come out of left field, and you just kind of got to roll with the punches and work through it. And they're fun, not necessarily being kicked off of a live stream, but it's okay.
I won't do it next time, I promise. Brian will be here to help me.
Oh, good. But it's part of the fun. It's unscripted. It's us and you and everybody watching. I don't think people aren't going to get mad, about a small little hiccup. So, and that's kind of what I had brought up before. It's a great testament of the quilting community, of how kind and generous and helpful everybody is towards one another. So, yeah. So, yep. So, but again, we're super excited to join back again next Monday for Cyber Monday. But I think, what was my favorite word that I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the segment? What's my favorite word at Grace Company? What do we always do too much of?
We just like
Oh,
to
giveaways.
Yeah.
Yes.
Kind of took me a minute to get. I was like,
Was I supposed to answer that?
Giveaways.
So giveaways. So we have some wonderful giveaways for our segments today. We have a 10-foot luminous light bar to give away. If you haven't seen our luminous light bars, you're missing out. As a newer quilter, kind of coming into the age where I'm seeing, my eyes start to change. But any sewer, crafter, I think anybody kind of in that realm can agree there's no such thing as too much light. With our luminous light bars, they provide natural white light. There's no shadowing. They're just phenomenal to work with. So we have a 10-foot light bar for one of today's giveaways. We have kind of a what's the word I want to use? So kind of like a grand prize giveaway. Excuse me. So we have the 10-foot light bar. Then we have our Cutie combo. So in our Cutie combo, you have one winner, of course, will receive a Cutie. They'll receive a quilter's combo. So that's a combination of rulers, cutters, true grips, because before we can quilt, we have to piece together our top, and that's where that quilter's combo will come in. We have bungee clamps that are used on the Cutie to help kind of stabilize and keep fabric taut from the side. And then, of course, we have an 8-pack of thread. So again, 2 prize packages for today's event, the luminous light bar, and then, of course, the Cutie bundle package. So Tricia, I hope you've been keeping track of names, and I'm not quite sure how you're doing the giveaway on your end, but let's go ahead and announce the first winner of that 10-foot light bar.
Sounds good. I've been gathering comments, so let me go ahead and add this to the stream and we'll pick it together. Yeah, let me get that pulled up. Got quite a few people in there. You have a pretty darn good chance of winning today. Look at that. All right, well, let's draw that winner of the luminous bar, light bar.
Drum roll.
Who's it gonna be? Let's see. Almost there. Ruth A. Miller. Congratulations. Congratulations, Ruth. You are our winner.
Awesome.
That is so fun.
And Trisha, how will Ruth contact you guys
If
to
she just
claim
wants-
that prize?
Yep, she can just reach out to the info@sewingpartsonline.com. Just say that you're the winner, and they'll pass along your information to me, and I'll get you taken care of. So just let them know.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Congratulations,
So-
Ruth.
Yes,
So-
congratulations. All right, so without further ado, I think we had answered quite a few of the questions that came in. We're, again, always super excited to be here. I think everybody loved Carla's video. That was kind of the resounding of the comments. And, you know, I doodle, and it never connected, you know, until I started working here. I never connected the doodling to quilting, and it's like, but I already do this, so maybe I might be good at quilting, but I'm still my own worst critic, and I think that's just human nature in all of us. But yeah, so again, any other last minute questions from our participants, from our viewers, before we kind of get into our next video segment?
Let's see
And then
here.
while Trisha's looking at, I'll just say, you know, we gave the 10-foot light bar away, but stay tuned, because kind of as we're finishing this out, that's when we'll do our grand prize giveaway of that cutie in the bundle there. So
There we go. I do see a question here that they had stated, when quilting, what causes the caterpillar thread on the bottom? So they must be meaning more like the looping on the bottom of the quilt.
I would say a lot of that could be tension of the thread. So keep in mind, we're moving a machine over our fabric. Our projects will have different, in a sense, different weights, because we're quilting through at least 3 layers. So our backing, batting, and then our top. Depending on the thickness or thinness of the material that we're using, maybe we're doubling our batting, you know, to make our quilt a little bit thicker. You know, there's so many variables. So as our needle is moving up and down, that's, in a sense, it's not like our smartphones or our smart cars or anything else in our life that's smart. It doesn't know, you know, what the needle is going through, what's, you know, what it's penetrating. So with so many factors, and then, you know, moving that needle over our quilt, you know, that can sometimes affect, you know, that kind of the eyelashing that we'll get underneath our quilt. Our thread weight can also affect that. You know, there's so many threads that are out there. I would say there's probably more threads, different types of threads, brand of threads, than there are actual machines. You know, so even our thread can sometimes affect just what the tension, you know, will be with our machine. So again, you know, check your tension. I always start from the bottom and go up. So I start with my bobbin tension, and then work up to my top tension on my machine. And that's whether it's a domestic or a quilting machine.
Okay. Yeah, and if I may interject there too, something that I always find it makes such a huge difference is before any project begins, always change your needle to the correct one that you're going to be using. You want a new needle. There's nothing more frustrating when your needle starts making that noise where you're like, oh, it's having a little trouble to penetrate there. So the needle, and then make sure that you thread the machine properly. So even if you do it all the time, get your manual out, make sure that you are threading it properly, and that'll save you a lot of headache too.
Oh, definitely. You know, I had a customer comment one day in a conversation that I was in, and it was that point where I kind of had that light bulb moment where it clicked and made sense for me. And I think you've probably heard me say this before, but the least expensive thing on our machine is our needle. The most important thing on our machine is our needle. You know, so I would say, you know, change out the needle, you know, every 1 maybe 2 quilts, depending on the size of your quilt and how thick everything is. You know, make sure your needle bar is oiled, your bobbin case is oiled. All of these little, you know, maintenance things are going to make your projects easier and hopefully, you know, headache free.
Yeah, and I know the biggest thing, and I've done this, we were at a show once and I was like, it's just not quilting. Something is going on. I don't know what it is. The tension's not working. I was like, it's just not working. So I had a coworker, I was like, someone else has got to come take it. Like, this is just, I'm going crazy, right? So someone else came over and so they're looking, they're like, you noticed you missed this here on the threading of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, dang it. Like, it was the threading. Had I just threaded it right, once I did it, it worked fine. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Because, you know, it was just like you said, Trish, I was like, I've threaded this before, I got it.
Yep.
No,
It's so funny when that happens because you're just like, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. What is going on? And then it's like, okay, I'm walking away for a moment and then I'm coming back. And then then you come back and it's like, oh my goodness. Why did I do that?
Yes,
But
exactly.
at least it's an easy fix, right?
Yes.
But backing up, I do want to mention, because a lot of domestic machines right now say, you know, not to oil a specific way or, you know, do a few drops here, you know, there's specific instructions. With these types of machines, when you get into, you know, the Unique models, do you have more, not more maintenance, but just like, do you do the oiling yourself or do you bring it into a technician? What do you usually recommend? Is it easy to oil?
Our machines are. So again, I'd recommend oiling between at least the top, the needle bar. Oil the needle bar probably every between 3 and 4 quilts, probably within that range. And of course, depending on the size of your project,
Right.
it, you know, really determines how often you're oiling. The bobbin case, I'd recommend, what would you say, maybe after every 1 to 2 bobbins?
Yeah, it really, maybe, I'd say maybe 2 to 3 bobbins.
2 to 3.
Oil that one. Of course, it depends maybe on the size quilting, probably about 2 to 3 just to make sure, because that one you are changing quite a bit more or doing a lot more movement with it there. So yeah, I would say probably about 2 to 3. But really, the machines are very easy to oil. Definitely easy enough that you can do it on your own. There's no need to be able to take it into a technician. Especially, you know, as you start to get into them, sometimes they just get bigger, right? So you're like, I don't really want to take this off my frame. I have a quilt on there, you know. So they are meant and can very easily be maintained by yourself in your home. It really is a simple oil it. Make sure the tracks are clean because dust just builds up everywhere. I don't know how, but it just does. So, you know, super
Or if you have
simple.
cats or dogs.
Yes, yeah, every time. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, oil it, keep the tracks clean. You know, really maintenance-wise, that's all you really need to do with the machine. So it is meant to be very simple and user-friendly that you can do it yourself. And there
Yes.
are instructions that clearly show you how and all that. So
And
easy.
with all of our machines, they're designed so the end user can do all of their own maintenance. We have tutorial videos, you know, for help getting the correct tension. You know, potentially if adjustments to the timing need to be made. All of these things can be done by the end user with our Unique machines. But we do have authorized, you know, in a sense, dealers that many of them do service machines. You know, so if there's somebody who just isn't comfortable doing it on their own, you know, even with guidance from our tech team, from our wonderful tutorial videos, that there's always going to be you know, some sort of help and resource, whether again digital on the phone or in person with you know, somebody who does service the machines.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's
So.
see. We've got a question here. What brand of machines do you recommend? Unique.
We're partial to the Unique machines, but you know, going to different shows, you know, we've used quite a few different machines. Again, I'll day in and day out, I'll recommend a Unique machine because of the bigger throat and all of the features you know, available on our machines. but I really don't have, a preference on a domestic machine. I have a little Juki machine at home. Coincidentally, it's the same machine that we seem to take to quite a few of our shows. So I know how to use that machine. But everybody, they're certainly going to have their opinion on what machine is best. But I really don't have one. I love my Juki machine because that's, again, what I have at home, what I've learned to use for my small projects, not just quilting, but it was my everyday, not that I sewed every day, but it's the machine, that I have at home and I'm comfortable with. So, yeah. But I don't think there's a right or wrong answer.
Yeah. I was just saying that to my husband the other day. I started laughing. I'm like, well, I guess I don't have a brand specific machine because I have a Juki, a Baby Lock, a Brother, and a Janome. So I'm like, and I love every single one of them. And my goal is to use my Juki TL 2010Q on a Cutie frame because unfortunately I don't have enough space for the bigger frames in my house, but I do want to get the Cutie frame and start working with my Juki. So that's my goal.
Awesome. Trisha, I know a girl that can help you get a Cutie frame.
It'll be like, wink, wink. That was an awkward wink.
Yes. So, all right. So with that being said, let's go into our next video, how to quilt on the Cutie. So since we're talking about the Cutie, let's go ahead and jump right into that Cutie. We hope everybody enjoys it. If you have questions, put those in the comments. We'll be circling back around, to help get those questions answered. And then, after that video, we'll be able to answer those questions, kind of go into some of our new products, and then I think we can finish out with the Cutie Bundle Grand Prize giveaway.
Sounds good. And make sure you keep commenting so you get entered into that giveaway.
Yes.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get the how to quilt on a Cutie.
Awesome.
Welcome everyone, I'm Carla Jerome. This is Laurel, and I get to show Laurel how to use this fabulous little Cutie frame. First of all, it's very easy to put together. It is a solid little frame. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to vibrate off the table. So no need to worry about what surface you're really doing it on. You just want the table to be nice and level. You could even use it on your countertop, in your RV. It's just such a nice portable frame. Now, Laurel, that you've put it together, just make sure that you can move the carriage side to side, front to back freely. After you've set your machine on the frame, the height of this pole here is called a take-up pole because it takes up all your quilt after you've quilted. A good rule of thumb is to put your hand underneath with it laying flat, and you can tell it just barely hits, and so it's the perfect height right underneath here. So then, just coming and looking at this, you want to make sure that this pole, see how it kind of angles down just a little bit? Just make sure that it's even right underneath here. So to put your hand right across here and kind of tell.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the sewing machine. These right here, these are called feet dogs. They grab the fabric and kind of push it along as you're piecing or sewing. Okay. These need to be down so you have a smooth surface to move your quilt through. The other thing is the foot that you use. You need an embroidery foot or a quilting foot, something that makes it easy for you to glide across. You just want a smooth foot that you can easily see. Then the other thing is bobbins. I like to wind several bobbins before I start so that I don't have to stop in the middle of it. So look at your project and decide how much quilting you want on it and kind of guesstimate how many bobbins. Let's talk about preparing our pieced quilt for quilting. If you're going to piece your back, just make sure that you've ironed it and pieced it correctly. So we're going to lay our pieced backing, and I have gone and found my center of my backing, the top, and I've marked it with the pin, and the center with the bottom. So this
Okay.
will help me line up my batting. And I found the center of my batting as well, top and bottom.
Okay.
And I pinned it to my backing. And then I just pinned the sides. So now all I have to do is line up my pins, and I can just move it over and line it up. And that's all we have to do. Let's talk about leaders. I have a few inches on the top and a few inches on the bottom. The leaders are an extension of your fabric. If you don't have them, you will need to make your backing that much wider and that much longer. One leader's got cording in it to help you start rolling it up. You'll find the center of your leader. I'm going to just take my pencil here, or my pen, and just mark it. And I write a C for center. I'm just going to take my leader, and I'm going to line my backing up all of my pins, and I can take one pin and just pin straight across. And I'm just going to do that all the way across my top. And so we'll quickly do that. And the same thing that I do at the top, I'll do at the bottom. You'll just pin it straight across. And you'll always pin from the center out. And the reason is if you get a wrinkle or anything like that, you're pulling it from the center out so that you can adjust. Now this leader is quite a bit longer, and that's for your larger size quilts. So don't cut it down. It's not going to inhibit you in any way. It's just going to help you. You do the same thing with the bottom one, and the bottom one's even wider. So as you get to the end of your quilt, the leaders allow you to quilt all the way to the edge of your beautiful quilt that you've created. If you didn't have them, you'd have to cut a portion of it off because you couldn't sew because it'd be wrapped up over the pole. And I have a couple of sets because I get bored with my quilts, and so I like to jump from one project to another. So sometimes it's nice to have two sets. And with these frames, you can take them on and off and start on something new. We're going to slide our leader through the arm of our machine and adjust it to start quilting. We want to make sure we're putting our backing and our batting and everything under the foot. One thing I want you to notice, your carriage and your machine will only go so far before it hits the sides. So if you move your machine all the way to the side, you can notice that eventually your machine and your carriage will hit the side of the frame. And we don't want that to disrupt our quilting, okay? So I'm going to adjust my starting side out of way so that as I'm starting, I'm not going to hit. I'm going to move it all the way down. But I want to make sure that I can quilt this edge, okay, without it hitting.
Okay.
And now we can start putting our clamps on. And you want to adjust it also so that you can start right on this edge. So you can pull the batting up just a little bit. And so bring your machine out where it's going to start. See, we have that much area. So let's pull it up just a tad more. And there we go.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll put my needle in the down position. So what I like to do now is make sure my back has no wrinkles in it.
Okay.
And so I like to just pull it. And then sometimes I'll baste across the top edge to hold my quilt in place as well. So we'll have you do that in just a minute. So what we're going to do is we're going to now put on our two bottom clamps. Okay, and they go on a specific way. So you look at the name right here. This name has to be showing correctly, and we want to take these up off.
So facing you.
Yeah, facing
Or
you.
cutie, like I did.
Yeah, so the cutie needs to be facing so you can read it, not upside down, okay? And as you clamp it on, and clamp it down. And it comes with two side clips, so you can put them on. And it comes with two side leaders also, so you could clamp that on and pin it so you get extra tension. And helps keep it nice and straight. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull our quilt out, and we're going to start rolling it up. And you can look at your wrinkles on the back as you're rolling. I've got one right here. Just pull it out from the center out, just like you would on a rolling frame. And just keep rolling. Now we're just going to clamp it. Let's start rolling this on, and we can clamp this as well. And make sure you're counting all your little clamps, because if you leave one undone, you'll notice it and feel it. Okay. With this frame, you can sit or stand. If you're using a machine that requires a foot pedal, you will want to sit. So I'm going to have you sit down. You want to make sure that your machine is threaded correctly. And so make sure that you have the thread pulled through your tension knob and through the spring so that you get that tension. But right now you can tell that as I pull this, how easy it is to pull.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
because your presser foot, which is this foot right here, and this is the presser foot lever, isn't down. Once I put the presser foot down, you can feel that tension. And so you need to remember to put the presser foot down. Otherwise, you're going to have really loose tension, and your thread's going to look like shag carpet underneath, and you don't want that. Once you have the presser foot down, you want to make sure that you bring your bottom thread up. So find the needle up, needle down button on your machine, and it'll go down, and then push it one more time, and it brings the needle back up. Now, if you'll just barely move your machine away, see how it's going to pull up that bottom thread?
Okay. Yeah, the loop.
So that you don't have any of those thread tails underneath, okay?
Okay.
So you just pull that up. One other thing I want to point out is we want to tack down the edges of our quilt, just in case we sew off the edge. Notice that my foot is underneath my quilt, so if I sew off the edge and I start coming back, it's going to grab that quilt and make a wrinkle in it, and it can even tear your quilt. So what we're going to do is move the machine down as far as we can. We're going to lift up the presser foot just a little bit, put it on that wide area right there, because it doesn't matter how straight it is. I'm going to cover this with my binding. So when you're pushing down on the foot pedal, if you push too slowly, the machine's just going to barely start revving up and start moving, just like with a car.
Okay.
And so you want to make sure that you give it enough acceleration so that as you're pushing it, your stitches look decent. And you're going to go up to this corner and go across as far as you can reach. Okay, now start going across. See how easy that is? There we go. Now you hit the back. So now you can hit that thread cutter if you want. There you go. So now we've tacked down our quilt. Laura, do you feel comfortable just jumping in? I've drawn the design on for you and start to quilt, or do you want to practice first?
I've never really done this before, so let me practice.
So practicing to get the motor skills and the thought process is really important to free motion quilting. So just take some time. We got our paper here.
Okay.
And Laurel has her pencil. You could maybe kind of draw the design through the paper, and it doesn't have to be exact. It's just to learn the motion so that you understand it before you start quilting. Take a piece of paper, lay it over the fabric, and just trace an outline of them so that you can understand the proportion and how far up and how far down to move.
We'll start with just that.
Yeah. Okay. So just move it off to the side here and just see what I've done. So you're just going to start up there, and you just start with this one right here.
So just done the...
And just go up, down, up, down. It's really easy. I chose really simple, easy designs to start out with. But even the simple, basic designs like up, down movements make your quilt that much prettier.
Yeah, well, this is good for me because like I said, I've never really done this
And
before,
that's
so
all you do.
simple's good.
And then when you feel comfortable, then we'll just start. Yeah.
Loop, loop. Okay, I think I got a good idea.
All right, I've taken a chalk pencil, and in the star area, I thought it'd just be fun to just do a nice little long loop. One other thing I want to point out, with the hoop frame, because you have covered up most of your area, you don't know when you're going to be coming close to the end to hit it.
Yeah.
So we'll take a little piece of tape, move my machine down here, and we're going to mark it just inside this area. This block right here is as far as we can move. Now the front. You know that you're not going to have enough area to quilt this block here or a part of this block, okay? So we're going to have to just focus on this area up here, and then we'll shift it so you can do this whole block all at once. So you're just going to focus on this top row, and you remember how to pull your thread up?
Yes.
Take a deep breath.
Okay.
And start out slow, and you'll get very comfortable, and then just enjoy.
Okay, well, let's go for it.
There you go. Good job. And you don't have to stay right on the lines. just nice and smooth. Yeah. It's fun, isn't it?
Yes.
There's your first one.
Boom. Okay, I got this.
Yes, she did. She has it.
Okay, let's try just a little bit of this one.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start right here.
Uh-huh. There you go. Nice. See, she's getting more confidence, so she's going a little faster, just like your learner's permit.
Yes.
There you go.
Awesome. Look at that. I can totally do this.
Yes, you can. We knew that all along. So now while we've got Laurel quilting, I'm going to talk to you about the different machines that this Cutie Frame can accommodate. Up to a 19-inch machine. So you can put the 15M, the 15R, the 15 Pro, or the 19-inch machine on this frame. And what's nice about it is this piece right here extends out, so it can give you more quilting surface for you to quilt. Another nice feature is you can add automation to it. You are not limited to the way you want to quilt. If you are not comfortable with the free motion quilting, you can add automation and have it do the quilting for you. It's just a fabulous frame. It is for anybody and everybody. If you need a second frame and you like to quilt on the go, this is the frame for you because you can fold it up, put it away, and store it and get it back out. If you're a seasonal quilter and you have a second home and you need a quilting frame, hey, this is good for you. Somebody who's in assisted living who wants to keep doing what they love, this is the frame for you. And you saw with Laurel, man, she's going for it. She is a quilter now. And are you liking it, Laurel?
Yeah. I just want to keep going.
Laurel has finished up everything that she could quilt and as far out as she could quilt. And so now she gets to shift the quilt to finish up the next section. So that's what we're going to do right now. When you're rolling or when you're shifting, you don't want to roll it up all the way past so that you have a space in between as you're quilting. So you want to leave a little bit of what you quilted showing. So maybe about a ½ inch.
Okay.
We'll just shift it down this way. And we'll just lock it into place and you can finish up and then we'll roll it up.
Okay.
Let's lock all these in place first.
Okay.
I always like to lock these in place so I can get the wrinkles out. All right, and let's just pull this up. Kind of pull it out like that.
Oh, yeah.
And put it on. And then we'll just lock it into place. She's going to just finish this next section, and then we're going to shift it and start rolling so that she can finish this. And then I'm just going to come around here. And with your leader claws, you get a little leader to hold right here, but I'm just going to hold
Okay,
it.
I think I'll tack it down really quick.
There you go. There you go. Nice. Right there. There you go.
Okay. Come in and do these sections.
All right, she's just got a few more to do. And see how quickly she's mastered using her domestic machine and the design. It really does help to draw your design in your blocks. And she's mastered the foot pedal, thread cutter really well. Now you feel like you're kind of in your groove. You've got your rhythm.
Yeah,
you
just
know
keep
what you're
going.
doing.
Yes.
It's comfortable now.
Yes.
All right. What we're going to do is unclamp and we're going to adjust it so it's up just a little bit. Okay? Take these off. And this cording on this leader cloth just helps to make it a little easier for you to start rolling your quilt. Let's move the machine over here and make sure that we have enough room that we can quilt this.
Okay.
And so that's what we want to do. And because when we put our clamps on, let's put this clamp on first, and let's see where it lands. Okay, that's pretty close, and we're going to hit the back there. So we don't want to, and we can't even quilt the whole design.
Okay.
So we know we've done it too far, but that's what I'll do, is I'll sit there and I'll adjust one end.
Okay.
That way it's easier to line up all the way down the quilt.
Gotcha.
Okay, there we go.
So then you can see.
Can we? Yeah, we can. Close.
Okay.
All right.
I was going to say, even just doing this little bit of section, I really like the domestic machine because I think it's a good starting point. But I find myself wishing I had a bigger throat space, just because already I could have stitched maybe this whole section.
Right. We'll just put this on and pull it as we're. So let's just pull this section right here. And we'll let you put this one on. Quickly roll it up.
Let's pull up the chair.
Remember, we need to mark so that you don't hit the edges, okay?
Okay.
So you can take your existing piece, then let's move it down this direction. Let's figure out how far we can do it. Oh, right there, that's almost perfect. So you're just gonna stop right there, okay?
Okay.
Nice job.
Awesome.
Laurel has mastered quilting.
Yes.
So Laurel, this is your very first time machine quilting using the little Cutie tabletop fabric frame.
Yes.
So, was it easy?
Yes. Oh, yes. It was way easier than I thought it was going to be. It was super easy to get the hang of, to be able to just hook it on.
Could you go home and do it by yourself?
Oh, yeah.
If I wasn't there to coax you along
Yes.
and help you, and did you enjoy it?
Yes, I already want to keep going. I just want to keep doing the whole thing.
She's going to keep going. So thank you for joining us, and we hope you've learned a few things and purchase your Cutie tabletop fabric frame today.
Thanks for the reminder.
Thank you. It's like we can't
I have to
hear
holler
you.
in the other room and be like, Brian, come help me. But what I was saying on mute is that, Laurel, you convinced me. I think I can do it.
You can. You really can. I promise that was literally the first time I had ever touched a machine like that. I didn't know almost anything. And it really is something that you honestly can pick up on, and I loved it. I wasn't kidding myself. I wanted to keep going. I literally, after the video, I came back and I did a little bit more. I really did. So
Yes, and you know, she made it
so
look
easy.
Yes,
it really is.
All right, so now I know there were a few questions that came through the chat. So what size machine can be used with the Cutie? I would say anything with a smaller throat, keep in mind that's going to limit your quilting area. Minimum, I would say 7 inches, but you can put up to a 19-inch machine on that frame. So minimum about 7, I'll ballpark it, that's probably close to 7. Remember, you'll automatically lose an inch of throat space with the take-up rail. And then as you're rolling your quilt on that take-up rail, I always tell people, make sure you're rolling above the rail and not letting that roll kind of fall behind the rail because that's going to eat up some of that throat space as well. But I've watched this video, on a few occasions. I love the video. Again, you can tell, Laurel had never used a machine, never quilted before, but she picked it up so easy and made it look so simple. And, she made the comment even in the video, she found it very easy, wanted to continue quilting, but said she would want a bigger throat space. So yes, your domestic machine is a perfect starting point. As you become more confident and a better quilter, free motion quilter, you know, or potentially even automation, you know, you're going to get better and better over time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. And it definitely, you know, is something, you know, Linda, you talked about is, yes, it is a fantastic starting point, you know, and that's a great question. What is the smallest size and largest quilt size the frame will handle? Fantastic question. It actually can handle any size. So it is, it kind of was touched on in the video, but it is referred to as a hoop frame, meaning that you can quilt out a section and then simply shift the fabric to the next. So with that, again, you are able to do any size quilts. And then in that video as well, we actually showed you how you could put leader cloths on that, and there are specific leader cloths for the Cutie Frame. The reason for that is it actually comes with 4 different sides, so that you can put it around the entirety of your quilt, so that with that hoop style frame, you'll be able to quilt all the way to the edge with that. But again, that's where if you're doing smaller size ones, you can use the leader cloth set that will allow you to quilt all the way to the edge, or of course, if you're working with a bigger size, just as we showed there in the video, you can simply quilt out a section and shift it to the next.
There was a question regarding table runners as well. So if they're really narrow, that would still work just fine as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where if you are doing something smaller, that's where the leader cloths can be a very helpful tool, because it'll allow you to not have to have as quite a big of a backing, because that in a sense becomes your backing, right? It allows you to attach it or use it to hold it to the frame so you can do a table runner. So absolutely.
And kind of the explanation I give people is using the table runners. It allows you not to waste fabric, and it truly gives you the edge-to-edge keeping or quilting capabilities.
Yes, absolutely.
So cool. There was also another question. I was going to bring up the comment here, but I can't find it. But they had mentioned, is it a good, the Cutie good for like a retreat or vacation? I know it can store easily, but is it also easy to bring when you're traveling?
I would say it is. You know, you'll certainly want to take off the bottom plate and the top plate carriage on the frame. The rails are adjustable to fit the size of your machine. So those can raise up, they can raise down. You can, you know, push the rails all the way down and really, what is it, maybe a foot? How tall do you think?
Probably even maybe a little bit shorter than a foot, really, if it's fully collapsed down. But yeah, it is meant, yeah, I would say very easily you can. I think actually kind of when we first introduced the Cutie Frame, there was a customer that you had that whose husband or herself was a truck driver, right? And so they would drive across just oftentimes, and so didn't really have a spot for the Cutie Frame, or I guess for a big frame, you know, anywhere. So they got the Cutie Frame, and actually I believe took that with them literally on the road, and would pull it out and quilt at the different stops they went to. So yes, absolutely.
It's definitely portable, storable, relocatable. Again, you know, just make sure you're removing the carriages, the top plate and the bottom plate. I would smush down the rails all the way down to the lowest position. Whether you're storing the frame at home, that frame can easily slide under a bed, in a closet, you know, easy out of the way. But also, again, it's light enough, you know, you can pick it up and you know, put it in the back seat of your car or your trunk. Very easy, you know, to move it around.
Yes, absolutely. And I know there was a couple questions that customers asked, and I think it's a common question, is that yes, the top plate and handles are where you set a domestic machine is included with the Cutie Frame. So all the components you need to pretty much put your machine on there, you know, get a quilt top on there, will come with it. So it comes with those clips that you saw on there, the bungee straps that help hold the rolled fabric together. It comes with all of that. And again, that section that has the handles attached to it is included with that Cutie Frame.
Yes.
So I have no excuse.
No excuse. So again, Trisha, I know somebody who can help you get your very own cutie. So
We may have to chat.
okay, sounds great. Sounds great. So everything that we've talked about so far. So whether it's been our Cutie Frame, whether it's been the cloth leaders, and again, whether it's specific for the Cutie Frame or any of our other frames, or by the yard, the Sure Stitch, either of the Sure Stitch options, again, any of the machines, anything we've talked about today, you can find right at the sewingpartsonline.com website, so they can be purchased, now, anytime. Again, there's great promotions available right now. This month, the Cutie Frame comes with a free motion starter kit, so that's a great stepping stone. So the very first video, the fundamentals of free motion quilting, really, kind of pinpointed how to get started, what to do. I don't want to say how to doodle, but there's, instruction on different ways you can doodle, to kind of bring about your own free motion capabilities. So again, the Cutie Frame comes with that free motion starter kit. It's that free motion starter kit. I said free one too many times. The free motion starter kit.
We don't like free.
We do like free, but that's again a great tool, especially since so many, from what I can tell, so many of our viewers today are new to quilting, and I felt there was, great feedback, from the comments. That free motion starter kit. Find it on Sewing Parts Online. Treat yourself, treat a friend, somebody, anybody. The holidays are right around the corner. Anything on the sewingpartsonline.com website will make great holiday gifts for yourself or friends or family.
Yes, absolutely.
That sounds perfect. Ooh, we're here to help you. So I had put it up before, but I'll just put that up again. You can reach out to us by phone or by email. It's just going to be that 888-824-1192 or our info@sewingpartsonline.com. And you can just visit our website at sewingpartsonline.com.
All right. So, Laurel, here at the Grace Company, I mean, I've been here for almost a year and a half. I know you've been here a little bit longer than myself. But since I've started, there's been quite a few new products that we've launched. It's been very exciting to kind of see those products, start from just an idea all the way through to manufacturing and a finished product. So we have a handful of some of our newest items with us today. So one we've talked about a little bit is the free motion starter kit. Do you have that on your side, or nope? Looks like I have it on mine.
Yes, this is a wonderful kit because, especially right now, Melinda had mentioned it, for this month of November, it does come free with the purchase of that Cutie Frame. So this is a really fun kit where it actually, we give you a backing, a batting, and a top piece of fabric to get started. So instead of having to go find your own fabric, or use a quilt top you've already spent some time on, we're giving you something to get started with. It also comes with some thread as well with that. And then some pencils. And the biggest thing is it actually, in a sense, is a kit of pretty much that first video we watched with Carla.
Yep, the doodle kit is what I like to call it.
Yes, exactly. That's what it comes with. So it goes through kind of how, again, you can do those different swirl motions, and then it actually has that same pattern kind of printed out on that top piece of fabric. So again, you can go right from doodling over to, hey, this is what it looks like to do it on a quilt top. So it's a wonderful, wonderful kit that, again, for the month of November, does come free with the purchase of that Cutie Frame.
Yes, and I would say I have loved using this before on the plane to Houston for the International Quilt Festival. I had kind of the doodling portion of the kit on the plane with me. It's a long flight from Utah to Houston. It's a few hours, so I was able to get some practice in on the plane, just doing that free motion. And then you're developing that muscle memory, and that's going to ultimately equate to the free motion quilting that you're doing on your quilts. So again, a wonderful, wonderful product. Great. I wouldn't say just for new quilters, but I think a quilter of any skill level, could benefit of an introduction of a new idea or new concept into their projects. So again, great bundle, great kit, whether you get it free with the Cutie or if it's purchased separately.
Yes, wonderful. And then kind of the next thing that we have kind of goes more into our cutting line, but it's a really fun, kind of goes with that same idea of that it is a kit. So it's what we call our True Cut Travel Kit. So I love this little beauty. I'm going to move this aside here. So this is a wonderful, wonderful thing that I actually had the chance to talk about and do a couple different videos on. But as you can see, it's something that allows you to take your cutting on the road because, just like the Cutie, you want to be able to take quilting. You don't have room for things, but hey, I'm traveling. I want to be able to do something on the plane while I'm waiting in the airport, anything like that. Or maybe you have a long car ride coming up, right?
I would say be careful through the airport with like the cutter that's inside the travel kit, possibly some of the pins, some of the sharper objects. But I've seen my mother-in-law take this to work with her. She can cut some of her pieces for her tops, on breaks, on lunches. I've taken this on, kind of road trips, camping even, before it was released and kind of available for the general public. I think it's been a fantastic tool. Again, just be careful what you take through, what you try to take through security at the airport.
And I'll show you guys just so you can kind of see. So this is a wonderful thing where it does have the handles to hold it kind of like you would a purse or a bag. And then it does also have a nice strap here that you can use, to put it over your shoulder and all of that. And so just again, so you can kind of just briefly see here, there is a lot that's included here. So this is kind of what it comes with in the middle. Comes with a little free postage stamp pattern. So again, kind of something to get you started and use this kit with. This is just kind of tells you what's included with that kit is what that is. This is a wonderful pack of True Grips. So these are absolutely fantastic. They fit on the back of any rulers you have, and they just help keep them from sliding, especially on larger rulers. It helps you don't have to walk up with your ruler as you're cutting along. These will be able to allow you to hold it simply at the bottom. That way it won't slide at all. So that's a wonderful thing that comes with it. A little thank you card that we just ask you to, hey, share with us the new pattern that you've done, any fun things you do with this. So really wonderful kit. Melinda had mentioned it does come with pins. It has a sharpener here, of course, different spots for you to hold all those. And even here, again, you can see it comes with wonderful array of items. So with it, there's a couple different pencils for marking. This one is a wonderful magnetic snap bracelet, so you can put your pens on it. A seam ripper. It does come with scissors as well. And then this is a fun little thing that's kind of tucked in this pocket, but it is a cute little mini cutting mat. Look at that.
I love our cutting mats. They're thick, they're self-healing. All of your markings are on both sides of the mat. Whether you're getting, the small travel kit version or one of the larger cutting mats, it's a great addition to any sewing and craft room.
Yes, it is. I absolutely love that. And then again, I love that this is something that obviously fits in here so that you really can take it on the go with you. I had an opportunity to go travel out with an ambassador of ours, and she was piecing together a quilt top, and she's like, I gotta go finish it. So she went back to her hotel room, and she's like, guess what I used? Because she still had to cut out some fabric because some things came up before, and so this worked out perfectly for her because she really was able to take it with her and do it in a hotel room. So I thought that was a really neat thing. So just to kind of show you what else is in here with it. This is just a sheet that's nice for if you're doing piecing or anything. And then this one actually has a gripping material as well. It is kind of like a sandpaper fill that again just allows you to be able to help hold it on there as you may be trying to go through and pin anything there. And then there's this here in the back. This you can use. It's kind of like a pin cushion board. with it. And then we do give you a cute little cutter as well. This is a 28mm straight cutter that again, you really can use with that cute little cutting board that you have with this wonderful kit here.
Yeah, so it really makes, you know, if you're wanting, you know, to cut your fabric while on the go. So again, breaks or lunches while at work or in the car on a road trip or anywhere. Again, you can take it anywhere. It's a very durable, you know, it's kind of a hard case, but it's durable. You can fit, you know, additional fabric in the bag. Everything's kind of in an all-in-one place. So again, a great addition, you know, for any sewer, crafter, you know, to have this so they can take their projects along with them and not just be confined in one place to do those in.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and even like not even for traveling. I was thinking, I just love how organized it is. Everything's in the perfect spot. Doesn't even have to travel.
It is, it is. So we have a couple more items. I'm just gonna lean over and grab them.
Yeah, so some of these other pieces are meant more for specifically for our Unique machines. What we have is a magnifier. This is something that actually can fit on all machines. So whether it is a Unique machine or even a domestic machine, or honestly, even if you want to use it outside of having it attached to a machine, you can use it for that. So this is just kind of a fun, helpful tool that allows you to be able to just really see your stitches and be closer, or it's actually just nice. I've had people use it when piecing, just so they can see a bit closer, you know, as they're going through and stitching it, or as they are going to cut it, just to see it a bit better.
You know, I love using this. So on our machines, whether it's our Unique machine or even a domestic machine, having it attached right above the needle bar. So I can swing it down. Again, I'm coming into that age where I'm noticing changes with my vision. I don't see, you know, the small things as clearly as I once did. But I'm not quite ready for readers yet. Maybe, I don't know. We'll cross that bridge at some point, but I do notice those changes. So I love being able to use this to help me thread our machines. You know, where things like that, you know, just even that, it's a little bit more challenging, you know, time after time, and you know, anything to help make things easier, I'm all for it. I love the phrase, work smarter, not harder. So again, anything to help with my quilting and sewing projects, this is probably one of my favorites right now.
Yes, wonderful. And then again, we did talk on it, but it can be used with any machine. So whether it's a domestic or a Unique machine, you can use it with it.
Yes. We have one more last item. We have our Quilt Perfect ruler foot kit. So again, this is one of those items that's specific for our Unique machine. Or machines, I should say. So we have the 19, well, we have the 15 series, the 19 series, and the 21 series. So again, they're wonderful. You would get a precision foot, a rolling foot, and a true track foot. So if you've used any of our rulers, you know that our rulers have a raised edge, that our cutters, in a sense, will kind of lock onto that track, allowing you a safe, easy, accurate cut every time. These feet work specifically with our rulers just to help, you know, give you greater confidence, greater precision in doing any type of ruler work.
Yes, and then it is nice, but it does come with a little ruler as well. I think it's a little, what is it, 3x8 ruler that's in there.
It's a little one.
Yes, and
That's
actually,
for sure.
I didn't quite mention it, but this same ruler does come in that True Cut travel kit. So like Melinda had mentioned, with the little cutter, that 28mm, it does allow it to lock in with that edge.
And I don't know if they can see it in this video,
yeah, but that's all right. Take a look, you know, go visit Sewing Parts Online's website. I know they'll have some information there about it. But yes, it is wonderful where it does have that raised edge so that, so like Linda said, you can have more confidence and ease when trying to do ruler work with
Yes. And, you know, my beginning quilting, and, you know, I'll say it before, I feel like I'm, you know, beating an old horse, but we're going to be our own worst critics. The more we do it, the more we practice, the easier, more confident our quilting will be. And that will be evident, you know, in the projects that we're completing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, wonderful. You know, and kind of, I guess, going right in line with our newer products, we're going to have, I guess, just a small little kind of intermission, if you will, here that's just going to have a little ad on a newer 19-inch machine of ours. And then just following that, we're going to have a video that's going to talk about, I believe, our new 21X Elite machine. This is wonderful. This is where, hey, you know, maybe I've started with the Cutie Frame. I now am able to have a bit more space, and I want something that's a bit bigger, right? Something that, again, that is that 21 inches of throat space and has some amazing features that we'll go over in that video. But yeah, I think right now let's go ahead and just, unless there's any last thoughts or anything from Melinda or Trisha, before we get into that small commercial about that 19X Elite machine. Again, just a small little blurb on that machine and kind of some features about it. And then we'll go into a video that will talk about the features of that wonderful, unique 21X Elite machine.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome everybody. We are so excited to be with you today. My name is Mark.
And I'm Laurel.
And today we have an exciting product in our Unique line. When they told us we were going to be talking about this new machine, you and I both were like, we're on it, because we wanted to be the first to discuss this revolutionary new Unique 21X Elite.
Woo!
Yes. Now in our Unique line, for those who been part of Grace for a long time or just now watching for the first time, we have our Unique 15 series, we have our Unique 19, and we have our 21 series. And in our 15 and our 21 and 19, we have our Pro machines. We have our 15 Pro, we have our 19 Pro, and we have a 21 Pro. Today, we have our new revolutionary Unique 21X Elite, and we are both excited to talk about the features of the machine, what this machine can do, and why it's industry changing, and we're so excited.
Yeah, you know, and Mark, it really is. You just said it is an industry changing machine, and that is absolutely correct. We're going to go over, like Mark said, the machine and some of the features that it has, but there is absolutely nothing else in the industry like this machine. It is an absolute stand on its own, top end machine that is going to absolutely change your quilting experience. And actually one thing that we've done is actually change the out of the box experience with this machine. And kind of with that is we actually helped make it so when you're first originally taking this machine out of the box, you simply can pull it out, and we have it set up where you're able to actually set this machine directly on the wheels. So you can just, pick it up, set it on there, and then screw the wheels on. A much easier process. You don't have to hold the weight of the machine. You now can let the styrofoam hold all that weight for you.
That's right. You're going to see right out of the box, right out of the gate, that experience that you're going to have is just going to transition all the way to when you're quilting. And we'll talk about some of the features when you quilt, but yeah, that out of the box experience is going to be awesome.
It's a wonderful feature.
I know when I take out just even our 15-inch machine, if you already taken out a 15-inch machine and you're getting it out of the foam, it could be a little bit challenging. So the 21 is really, really nice in that feature.
Yeah, and one thing that's actually really neat, part of that out-of-box experience is actually some of the instructions that we have for you guys. We actually have it now where we're gonna have some automated instructions that'll help just give you a little bit more of some visual aid on how to assemble this machine, which is huge. Instead of, having to go flip through the instructions, which you'll still have, you can actually, again, kind of see and have someone walk you through that process, which is gonna be awesome for you guys that are a little bit better, with visual aids.
That's right. So we're gonna dive into all the features. This is such a quiet machine, easy machine, very user-friendly, from the screen to the handlebars. Just everything about this machine you're going to love. I know from the past shows, we've done shows, and I've used all of our machines. This is the best machine that we have.
Absolutely.
And if you've been looking at a long arm machine and you've been wanting maybe to upgrade your own machines, start with the 21X Elite. You can't go wrong. You're going to be happy, and it's going to be just awesome companion in your quilting room.
Yeah, and one thing that I think is really revolutionary about this machine is actually the user interface. And this is actually kind of interesting. When me and Mark were first kind of getting told about this machine, we jumped on it like, oh, we got to introduce it, right? We're actually being told a little bit about that user interface and how actually we had one of our engineers who went to a show with us and actually walked around just, test the different machines, get a feel for them. And one thing that they had found is that they actually didn't know how to start the machine or even use it without having to ask someone.
Which is crazy.
It is.
You're looking at a screen and how do I start this? That is crazy.
Yeah, and so with that, we've made it so that anybody, and I mean literally anybody, can walk up and know how to start and really use this machine to its fullest potential, which is crazy, right? You would think, yeah, I should be able to know how to use a machine, but you don't. This time, again, anyone can walk up and use it, and it's absolutely wonderful.
That's right. We're going to look at 3 patented features that we have on this machine that no other machine has. Okay?
Yes.
One of them is the edge warning. What is the edge warning?
So that's a great question. So I think when you're quilting, you kind of just get caught up in the moment. You're really enjoying yourself. You're really into design. And so when that happens, sometimes you'll have the machine pulled too far forward, or you have a little bit too much to the back, side to side there. But with this, it actually has really kind of cool 2 features, I'd say specifically within this edge warning. One of them is it actually has a sound warning. So it'll let you know, it'll beep at you, say, hey, careful, you're coming up on the edge there. And then another one that actually is super neat is it has actually a light that can flash at you as well. Again, just to kind of notify you and say, hey, careful, you're coming up on the edge. That way your designs, can stay beautiful and even, and you're not going to, run into the edge and potentially mess up that design.
That is just mind-blowing, because we've all been there. We've all pulled the machine up and we hit the throat. We've all went to the left. We've all been to the right, and we get caught up doing our just natural quilting that we forget maybe where we're at. Especially as a new beginner, you can get caught up that way. You know what? I want to talk more, but I want to see this edge. Can we see this edge warning in action? I want to see this edge warning, and I love that it has the color light to it. Now the sound is loud. But for those who would like to see the light, it will actually, that red light will pop up so you know where you're at on your quilt, which is, again, phenomenal. And let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to have Laurel go ahead and...
So one thing I actually want to show you really quickly is how you can actually simply go in and set that edge warning. So it's a very easy feature. You're going to just simply come into your toolbox, and it's labeled for you, edge warning. One thing that's great about the edge warning is you actually can choose to do a 1/2 inch or even a full inch from that edge, just to kind of give yourself what feels comfortable for you when using it. So this one I'm going to do a 1/2 inch, which I just have selected here. If you wanted to change it, you could very easily go in and set it. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the top left, and I'm just going to use this right here. I'm going to move to the bottom right. And again, this is something that'll change just according to whatever space you're working with. And then now you can see it is set there. So then to go back out. And you can also see and tell that it is in place with this side of the screen here. It actually shows you that symbol again that you had when you first went to that toolbox to just let you know that that edge warning is on.
And so then let me show you kind of what Mark had talked about really is the sound as well as the lights, which is a huge, huge thing with this edge warning.
I'm so excited to hear this, by the way.
Yeah.
We use it. I just get excited, and I can't wait to see this even again right now.
Yes. So just get it going here. So then you can see it there. So again, if I'm just kind of quilting here, as I come to that edge, it'll beep at me. And so one thing I do want to show, even maybe if we can, we'll take a little bit closer look here at it, is actually the light that comes up, because sometimes, as you're going, even though, yes, you might be a little bit in the zone, you're not really fully paying attention. So with that, we've added that light feature that will really highlight. So again, if you're really focused in on a design, you can still be warned and notified of that. So I'm just going to show really quick.
And one thing, it was beeping. When we set that, it goes all over, even from when you go from the top. So you have up here on the top and on the bottom, which is nice.
Yes, exactly. And so this is just where, again, I kind of want to show you what that light actually looks like when you're quilting here. So you can see, just normal. Then as I come to that edge, that light kicks on. So Mark, tell me, what do you think about it?
I love it, Laurel. It's one of those, I don't want to say subtle features, because it's not. It is leading industry change with what we did. This machine comes equipped with everything you need. That edge warning is going to really save your bacon as you're quilting, because if you're like me and you come up, I couldn't tell you how many designs I had to unpick because you end up cutting it off based off of where you're at to the left, where you're at to the right, and in the front. So that edge warning, I love it. So now we got two other features that we're going to talk about that are patented as well. What are those?
So one of them actually, it helps with the vibration of it. And so now all machines, when you're moving them, because you are moving them, have some slight vibration to them. But with this, it's actually really neat. When we were talking with the engineers, again, just when we were first learning about this machine, they talked about, all the testing they put it through to really make this the absolute top end of the industry. And one of those tests they did was specifically that vibration. And so when you do it, it just flows and rides very easily. So you really don't feel like there's any vibration coming from the machine. So it is that smooth movement, which again can help bring your focus back into the beautiful art that you're creating.
That's right, and we all love that. And last but not least on the patented feature is the directional hopping foot. Now this is awesome. We have quilters who like to have the hopping foot maybe in front, maybe to the side. It doesn't matter. You can actually set your hopping foot wherever you want, from the side of it, from the left to the right. And that just kind of gives you the feel. If you're comfortable with what machine you had before and it was on the side, you can actually move the hopping foot to that side. So we wanted to keep that comfort level with you. If that's what you like, that's what you can do, which is really awesome.
It is, yeah. And I think this is just, Mark had touched on a little bit there, but just really the comfort or familiarity of what you may have had previously is brought into this machine. So again, anyone can easily walk up to it and use this machine and feel very comfortable with it.
That's right. Now there's a lot to talk about with this 21X Elite. So many things. We talked about the 3 wonderful features. There are a lot of other features that we want to get into. One, we have a 7-inch touchscreen that you've already went through and talked about some of the stuff, but there are also other features on the screen that you can access that no other machine you can with. So let's talk about what you can access with this 7-inch touchscreen.
Yeah, so I'm going to just I want to show you guys again what Mark was talking about there is really part of this user interface that is so unique with this machine here. So really, again, very simple, very easy to understand for anyone walking up to the machine curious to take a look at it. So one of those is actually what we accessed earlier, which is your toolbox. And within your toolbox, there's actually some really cool features that are just very helpful to have. One of them is a measuring tool. And one thing we've made actually adjustment to is that measuring tool will update with you live. So as you're moving your machine across, you will actually see that measurement kind of again move with you as you move the machine. We have an awesome calculator. And then one thing that's also super neat is actually this bobbin estimator. Now I do want to go into this and show you a little bit more because it actually has an opportunity for you to have a memory in this and save a bobbin.
Well, say that again, because that's pretty awesome. Say that again.
You have a way to save memory and save, again, the bobbin, whether it's the type of thread you're using, how many yards is on it. That's huge. That's huge.
You're in cotton and it's 40 weight, you can put it in there. You're using polyester 50 weight, you can put it in there. That's pretty cool. I love that feature.
Yeah, which again is awesome because this has that bobbin estimator. And so according to whatever, again, that weight, the yardage that you have, it can adjust it to let you know correctly when it's time to change it, which is huge. And then you also in here, you can actually change the name of that bobbin. So you can label it as anything you'd like. Then I just kind of want to go back into that toolbox just again, show you a little bit more. So there's that edge warning feature, which again, you can go in and adjust. Then there's also a project, which is just kind of a cool feature to show you again, where you can set how many hours, stitches, and all of that, just to kind of see, if you're curious on how long it's taking you to do that project.
Other nice features we have with the screen are the other resources we have. We built in and integrated help files within the screen.
Yeah, and then let me actually show you and kind of walk you through some of those. So very easy. Again, part of this user interface is that anyone can walk up and use it. So you simply come up here and very easy again within the help files. And even within this, we have some additional points that you can select. So if you want to look at threading your machine, how to know what needle to choose, again, winding the bobbin, all of that can always be found on here. And one thing that I love as well is that there actually is pictures that will take you through so you know exactly what part of the machine you're talking about and how to access it. So for this one, if you're to look there, again, it's just going to kind of zoom in and show you even just more features of that. And really, like Mark said, now to have all that literally at your fingertips is incredible. It's incredible. There is nothing else like that in this industry. It is absolutely unique to what this machine is.
I love that. I don't know how many of you have done this, but you get a manual with your machine and you set it aside, right? And you want to find out again how to oil it or what do I need to do to maintain it. Now we have built that within the screen. So if you did misplace your instructions, don't worry because it's right and integrated with our screen.
Yes, and one thing that's nice as well, as you can see, is there really are other options in here, or help files that can be found. One of those is some maintenance and then troubleshooting. So if something ever were to happen, or if you're looking at especially stitching, so the tension, there's some help in here to give you just, again, a really good starting point so you feel comfortable in taking charge of your project and what you're working on.
So many features about this machine. We only tapped into a few of them. Just like the rest of our Unique line, we have overspeed settings that you can turn on and off your overspeed. You have your lights, you have other features within this within the machines. This one with the lights, you can actually move the lights with a slider. So if you want the lights more dim or brighter, you can just actually slide it with on the screen, which is really nice. And so the needle lights are really, really nice. But you can actually make them brighter or more dim if you like.
Yeah, and then let me actually show you how easy that is to do. So all you're gonna do is you come in here, go into settings, and as you can see, it is right there, very easy for you to see, and you can easily adjust it again to what's gonna fit you best. Sometimes if you're doing it at night, maybe you don't want it quite as bright so it doesn't hurt your eyes. And really just, again, you can see very easy to understand the screen and know exactly what you're looking at.
So Laurel, those are all awesome, fantastic features. One of the other features we have are built-in buttons with labeling so you know what button to push and to get you started. Because I know with our pass, if you're looking at it and like, what button do I push? The 21X Elite shows you what button to push.
Yeah, I think this just kind of comes back to that very user-friendly, anyone can walk up and use it. And so it really is an absolute simplified version. And not only that, we do actually have some printing on here so you can know exactly what those controls do. So there's a needle up, needle down, start and stop the machine, and this is simply to adjust, your stitch speed or length. So really very easy. Anyone can come up and feel comfortable and ready and excited to use the machine.
The buttons with our other machines used to navigate through the screen, even with the touchscreen. This one, you use a touchscreen to navigate through our different modes. From precise, we have cruise, base, and manual. The machine is very quiet. I love listening to the machine. It is super quiet, really, really nice. And I just almost want to hear it again quilting before we get into some other features. Let's go ahead. I know you want to see it. I know you want to see quilting. So let's go ahead and just quilt a little more because I know you want to do some quilting.
Yeah, I do. Any chance I can to use this new machine, I'm going to take it. So yeah, super easy. And this is just kind of to Mark's point. It really is absolutely a very quiet machine. So I'm going to show you that here.
And it's such a beautiful stitch.
Yes.
I could just listen to that.
I know, I just want to keep going.
So nice. I love it, Laurel. I love the pattern that you're doing. That must be like a new pattern. It's fantastic.
It's something new I'm coming out with.
Yeah.
Sneak peek, you know?
That's great.
One additional feature that this machine has actually is it actually has a magnifying glass on it. And this is called the Magnifique. And this is a very unique feature because not only can it be used on the machine, but it also comes with some pieces that you can use it in your hand. So if you wanted to go back, you know, take a look at your stitches or anything, or your beautiful artwork, you can absolutely do that. And so this is just to help those, again, if you're looking to thread your needle, it's wonderful to use because it just allows you to easily see the eye of the needle to make sure it can go through there for you.
Laurel, that is such a great feature to have, and that comes with the machine, to get the close-up on the needle threading, to take off and go along and see if you miss anything else. So what a wonderful addition to add to the 21X Elite. So pumped to have this out. Again, industry-changing, features that you cannot find in any other machine, from the edge warning to the handles to the directional hopping foot, plus all the other wonderful features that we have, from the touchscreen, the ability to have the resources built into the touchscreen. There's so many awesome things about this 21X Elite, and I am really excited to have this on the market. We've been talking about this machine, and now it's here. It's finally here for you to upgrade from your 15 machine. Maybe you have a 21R, 21 Pro you want to upgrade. This is a beautiful machine to do so. Has a built-in bobbin winder, just like the other machines that work without having the machine on. Right? It's separate motor, so that's fantastic.
There is absolutely no other machine in the industry that is like this machine. It is uncomparable. There are so many things, like Mark had mentioned, that set it apart from other machines, that it is its absolute own beautiful standalone machine that is easy to use, comfortable, quiet, is going to fit everything you want to do. So honestly, I'm just always astounded because it really is like, wow. Why haven't we come out with this before, right? Why hasn't this been part of the industry? And so now it's just like, yes, it's about time, right? Like, I'm so excited to use it. And I wasn't kidding her there. Anytime I can and get to use it, I absolutely want to. And so it is an absolutely wonderful machine that anyone can use and absolutely, I know, will enjoy and love using it.
It is so fun to see this in action. You know, we've been hearing about it, and now it's here, like you'd mentioned. It is here. It is here to stay. If you're looking at getting a 21-inch machine, get the 21X Elite. It is the best, fastest, quietest, with built-in features that you can't find anywhere else. So consider getting the 21X Elite. If you want to upgrade from your 21 series, now's the time to do so. If you have the 15, again, you can upgrade to the 21X Elite series. I love everything about this machine. It is so beautiful, very easy to use, and I just want everybody to have one in your home because we love using it ourselves.
Yes, get it, because it really is absolutely going to just make your quilting journey much more enjoyable and easier for you. And I just know if you get it, you're going to love it, because I love it, Mark loves it, we all love it, everyone, even our engineers, all the thought and time they've put into it really is amazing to see. And we did this for you guys. We are part of, and we actually are leading in this industry, and this machine is proof of that. So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we're so excited to see you next time.
Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
All right. Well, those were wonderful little sneak peeks of those machines.
They are, you know, our new line of machines, you know, hearing the rumors, you know, some time ago that we're going to have new products coming out, you know, to going through all the internal excitement and the unveiling. But we've had the 21X Elite out for some time. So again, it's one of it's our professional machine, the most, you know, the biggest throat space, all of the advanced features, but that's not to, you know, to take away from our 19 series, even our newest 16 series machines. So everybody, make sure you're going to the Sewing Parts Online website, look at the frames that are available. And Laurel and Trisha, my favorite word starts with a G, ends with a Y.
Yes, everybody's gotten it in the comments there.
Everybody's putting it in. But a great deal with any of our machine purchases is we're giving away, giving the customer a free frame with their machine. So normally our frames would be separate, but again, 'tis the season to be in a giving mood. We're giving stuff away yet again. So any machine purchase will come with a free frame to choose from.
Right, for the month of November, right?
Yes.
So it is a special that we have, but again, it is a wonderful opportunity. There was a couple questions saying, hey, does that machine, and that one is specific, I believe it was on the 21X Elite. If you do purchase that one, you do get a frame free. And then even some of the other machines, Melinda had mentioned, you do get other different frames free. You can always upgrade. So yes, this is a wonderful time. We are giving things away because we absolutely love giving things away.
Yes.
And just to interject a little bit there too, in addition to their great sales going on with including the frame, we are also doing our So Creative Live Cyber Monday event in like a week and a half, and there's going to be special event pricing. So in addition to the special event pricing, you're going to get the free frame. So now is definitely the time to look at that whole package.
I'll interject. I would say order sooner versus later to make sure you get your products before Christmas. Yes. We've already seen an uptick with UPS and FedEx having some longer delivery times. The closer we start getting to Christmas, the longer those delivery times are going to be. So absolutely. I recommend sooner versus later, but I used to be a last minute shopper, not anymore. But if you're still that person, go for it.
Well, I used to go Amazon Prime because of the 2 days, but my goodness, ours is like 7 days right now. So I'm learning patience.
Yep.
I'm like, what the heck?
Yes. All right. So, we've talked about some wonderful things on today's shows. Free Motion Quilting. We've talked about the Cutie. We've given away one prize already, the 10-foot light bar. We've talked about some of our fantastic new products, our newest machines. I think we're pretty close to wrapping up today's event. But that G word, it's coming back at us again. So we have one last final giveaway for today's show. It's our grand prize. Laurel, do you want to reiterate, remind everybody what's included in this giveaway?
Yes, so this really is the Cutie Frame we're giving away with some additional accessories or pieces. They're going to help you get started on your quilting journey, or if you already are started on it, are some things that are going to just continue to help you along the way. So again, with it, it is that wonderful Cutie Frame, and again, we had mentioned it before, but everything you need to get started, so the top plate and handles, those different clips that you see that hold the fabric on, and then those bungees that again help hold the rolled fabric up will all come with it. And then with this one, we're also including a 4-pack of bungees, so that's some that can get clipped on the side, so that if you have your fabric shifted over to one side, it can stretch out and make sure to keep that fabric quilt top nice and taut for you.
I want to interject because just as you said that, I remembered a question I had seen in the comments. And the question was, do you need 2 people to use the Cutie? The answer is no. And I think that question stemmed from when Laurel was first quilting on the Cutie with Carla. Carla was on one end kind of holding the fabric taut, as Laurel was, quilting within that area at the end of the frame. With the bungee clamps, those would be used the same way Carla was holding that fabric to keep it taut. Use the bungee clamps to keep it taut.
Yes, that's absolutely right. Yes, thank you for touching on that there. And then kind of again with this kit as well, it does come, I believe it's free with the Free Motion Starter Kit right now, so that will be coming with you. So kind of what we had talked about there. Again, a wonderful different layers of fabric. So again, the batting, backing, as well as that top piece of fabric, as well as kind of a doodling notebook in there or some instructions to get you started. And then we are also including some thread with that.
Yes, and one last final thing, the quilter's combo is included in that bundle kit as well. So again, wonderful package, perfect, time right before the holidays. Hopefully, we have somebody out there that has some UFOs that need to be completed, and this will just make a fantastic addition to their sewing room.
Yes.
So without further ado, Trisha, Laurel, let's get a drum roll going for our winner.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back through. That was from before. Ruth won that awesome ball. Draw again.
Yes.
Here we go.
Let's see. Ooh, again, it's the whole package here.
There it is.
This is so
This is
exciting.
amazing.
Ooh,
Mary,
Congratulations, Mary.
Awesome. I'm so excited for you. That is such an amazing whole array of gifts. Like, that is so cool. So cool.
Wonderful.
So Mary, we'll definitely reach out to you. Or actually, if you want to go ahead and email us your address and everything, we'll get in touch with you. It's that info@sewingpartsonline, and they'll direct all your information to me so we can get you taken care of. But I don't know, guys. I think that's about wrapping it up, isn't it?
I think so. We were targeting around 2 hours. I think we've went a little over, which I'm perfectly okay with. I could talk about quilting all day, until I'm blue in the face. But we do know, great things do have to come to an end at some point. But we'll be back with you on. Is it Cyber Monday? Will be our next.
Yep.
I'll
Cyber
have
Monday
to
is going to
double
be November 28th. You will be with me for sure. And then Laurel, I know, will be back for our Christmas event, and you will as well. So that'll be December 7th through the 9th. So a ton of wonderful deals. And again, with the frames and coming with the machines, there are going to be so many fantastic things that you're going to want to check out.
Yes,
But-
wonderful. And then maybe just kind of as we sign off, maybe Trisha, if you wouldn't mind just putting up there so how everyone can reach out to you. Again, either it was calling into their toll-free 800 number, or of course emailing them. They're at that info@sewingpartsonline.com, or of course you can go to your website there as well. So wonderful. But thank you everybody for joining us. I know we've really enjoyed it, and please stay tuned for the wonderful next couple of digital events we'll be doing.
Well, thank you, Laurel. Thank you, Melinda. We appreciate you joining. Y'all have a great day.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you, viewers.
Bye.
Bye-bye.